What's up, fellow collectors? What's up, J. Piscopo fans? Welcome back to the M.I.B. Master Toy Museum. I'll be your curator today. Guys, we have a really fun one for you today. Another exclusive, another rare one from the legendary J. Piscopo's personal collection. Guys, we are looking at a pre-production prototype, if you will, action figure that Jay was working on. And this particular figure never made it to mass production for retail sales. So it never made it there, guys. And as you know, we did a lot of videos on J. Piscopo's Commander X and Nemo Toys line of action figures. And we've recently had the rare pleasure of really meeting with J. Piscopo and talking to him in person. And through those talks, Jay has been very gracious and open with his all of his collection and his comic books, his artwork that he's been producing. He's got a lot of things that he's working on right now. But in those talks, we being a museum, we wanted artifacts from Jay's collection, and he's been kind enough to donate figures to the M.I.B. Master Toy Museum. And this figure right here is not a figure or character that Jay actually came up with. It's more of a public domain figure. Well, it's a comic book figure from the I guess the early 40s or 50s called Golden Arrow. And here's from Wiz Comics, and this is a comic book character that Jay was actually in the process or thinking about creating and turning into an action figure. And that's the genius of J. Piscopo. Locating and finding characters that have been since long forgotten about. Maybe my grandfather knew about the Golden Arrow and knew about this particular comic book, but Jay has tapped into just a fountain of youth in regards to all of the possibilities from that golden age era, and finding awesome characters and superheroes that could be made into an action figure. And this was the pre-production stages of the Golden Arrow. This figure is extremely expensive. Jay really loved this figure. Jay, we promise we're going to take real good care of it. Jay teamed up with the legendary Dr. M.I.B, and really had a lot of help from Dr. M.I.B in regards to M.I.B parts. So everything you see here on this beautiful golden arrow action figure is from Dr. M.I.B. All the parts, all the accessories, and he is loaded with a lot of accessories. And Jay told me that, you know, he wanted his figures to come with tons of accessories. Tons of accessories. So Jay already has my vote. You know, you want an action figure, you want him to have tons of accessories. Sometimes that's not, you know, that's not very cost-worthy, but I like the way Jay thinks. And that was Jay's thinking, that all of his action figures, he wanted to be loaded with fantastic. Look, he's got a wristband on. He comes with the bow. He's got his quiver on the back there, more arrows there. He's got a neckerchief there. And this fantastic head sculpt, which Jay has a fantastic story about this particular head sculpt. It's the Robin head sculpt, and he said that it wasn't the most popular head, just going off from what Dr. M.I.B was telling him. So it wasn't the most popular head. So they found a lot of just parts and pieces that they could put together to make and breathe life into Jay's characters and his superheroes. And make no mistake, the Golden Arrow for his time was a fantastic superhero. A superhero for the Western Plains, if you will. In this actual mini comic book from Wiz Comics, 34 pages starring the Golden Arrow, Wild West hero of Wiz Comics. And just talking to Jay, which I could do for hours, listening to the stories of how he came up with these fantastic ideas. I didn't know anything about public domain characters. The Black Bat, another action figure that Jay actually got out into production. You saw a video that we did on the Black Bat. Check the public domain for all these fantastic characters, and that's what Jay was doing. Outside of being a fantastic artist and creator by his own right, and having all these fantastic comic books from Captain Eli to Commander X, you know, and the list goes on and on, Sea Ghost, Jay was able to tap into other sources of viable superheroes. You know, and I was sitting there just thinking when I was looking at this figure, and you can see how much of a prototype it was. There's no backing card to it. This was something that Jay was still in the process of thinking about, you know. So it's just in the clamshell itself, with the booklet, the Wiz Comics booklet, which is a real comic book. I mean, you can see it's got the actual pages. Guys, what do you think of our Golden Arrow pre-production prototype figure from Jay Piscopo? Have you ever heard of the Golden Arrow? Do you want to see more of these figures from Jay Piscopo? Guys, leave your comments underneath the comment section of this video, guys. We want to hear what you think about these figures that Jay Piscopo has created. Would you like to see Jay Piscopo bring out newer characters, more characters? Would you like to see these figures in stores? Well, these are the things that Jay and I are talking about, but there has to be a need. Jay wants there to be a demand for them, because it makes no sense to do it, if, there's no demand for it. And I told Jay, there's as a museum curator and a collector, there is a demand for it, to have something that nobody else has. This is a one-of-a-kind action figure. But it only takes somebody else to see this figure and say, where can I get that figure? I want that figure. And that's when a spark starts. This figure is just beautifully made. Beautiful outfit, very colorful. And when I was looking in at Jay's personal collection of action figures, this one jumped off, literally jumped off at me. And I said, I have to have this one. And like I said, he's very costly. But look what you're getting. And there's the two major points about this figure is who it came from, the legendary J. Piscopo, and it's a one-of-a-kind. It's a prototype, guys. And any collector needs a prototype. If you can afford it, needs a prototype in his collection. And we're just very grateful and blessed that Jay has been, like I said, so gracious with sharing his treasures from his personal collection. And here, this beautiful figure will rest at the M.I.B. Master Toy Museum. Guys, we have more fantastic action figures from the personal collection of J. Piscopo coming up. We have more big announcements later on this week. We want you guys to stay tuned. You know the routine, guys. God bless. And keep